Hello and welcome to this video about fossils. Fossils we can term as the remains of organisms which are found in rocks. Now use the word remains quite loosely because sometimes it's physical remains or sometimes it's something like a footprint, which is evidence that that animal actually existed. Now there are several different types of fossils. First of all, you can find something like a footprint, or a burrow or something, some sort of evidence or trace evidence of an organism existing. So the way in which footprints are often preserved is if an animal walks onto a piece of wet soil. If that then dries up over time and turns into a rock, you will find that the footprint is preserved. Sometimes a different form of material goes to fill in that footprint. So if this was the wet mud that dried up over time, after that there might be a different form of rock which fills in that footprint, but nevertheless it's easy to see the shape and you can work out the size. With some dinosaur footprints that exist on the planet, you can work out from the gaps between the footprints how fast that animal was running or how fast that animal was moving. So it can give us loads of really useful information. Another type of fossil is when you literally extract the hard parts of the animal which don't decay. So things like bones, when you extract those, they're the hard parts that don't decay, and obviously they give us some really great information about what the organism looked like and how it moved, perhaps what it ate, whether it's a predator or a prey depending on where its eyes are, all things like that. As well as bones, then you can find some fossils that have not decayed because perhaps a condition needed for the decay process wasn't there. For example, mammoths and things like that, when they get trapped in ice, then there is not the warmth there and the heat there and perhaps the oxygen available for decay to happen. So you get this whole preserved animal which has not decayed. So that's another way we can get fossils, so organisms that have not decayed. So maybe because conditions for decay were not present. These types of fossils are quite rare, but obviously they're the ones that are going to give you the most detail because you've got the most of the animal still existing for you to look at. I should say as well that it's not just fossils of animals that you find. You do find plant fossils as well, although they tend to be a lot rarer because they tend not to have those hard parts that can't decay. You tend to find those in this kind of form where you'll find a trace of a plant where it's perhaps lied along a rock or creeping up a rock or something like that. You find the trace of a plant as opposed to any hard bits of evidence. Now this is the most complicated process which will end up with a fossil, and this is when an animal decays and that organism is replaced by other materials as they decay. So when organisms or parts of the organisms are replaced by other materials as they decay. And this happens quite a lot with marine animals. For example, if this animal were to have died, as this shell were to decay, this would get replaced by minerals and will turn into a rock. This process is called petrification, when it turns into a rock, or sometimes you might see the word permineralization. And essentially the water will then just take in the minerals and replace the organism as it decays with minerals. So the actual fossil that you get will be minerals or a rock, whereas the actual organism itself would have completely decayed over time and is replaced. So this is the most complicated process to make a fossil, but it's quite a common one found, and any that you kind of find on beaches tend to be this rock kind of structure whereby the organism itself has decayed and been replaced by minerals. So lots of ways that we can find fossils, even though they do tend to still be quite rare. They can give us loads of information about early life. Okay, so fossils provide us information about early life, but the trouble is a lot of early life was soft-bodied and therefore there's no fossils. Okay, so this is a big problem. So even though it gives us information on early life, a lot of early life or organisms in that early period were soft-bodied, so there's no hard parts to the body, and therefore they decayed, leaving no fossils. So for the early organisms and very early plants, it's a lot of guesswork really for us to think about what they would have looked like, because a lot of these soft-bodied creatures have left no evidence for us to discover. But when we have got fossil evidence, they provide a really good story about evolution. So fossils are useful for studying the evolution of animals. For example, here there are several different structures of bones which have been discovered from horses, and you can see how the horse has evolved over millions and millions of years. So from some that have been found in rock over 50 million years ago to the present day horse, not only the teeth but also the bones have evolved and changed shape so much. So looking back at the fossils provides us evidence for evolution, so it gives evidence that evolution is happening and the animals are changing over time, and we can see how much or how little organisms have changed over time. So that's everything you need to know about fossils for your exam. If you found this video useful, then please press the like button below and feel free to subscribe. Thanks for watching.